Hello, and welcome to another Don't Call Them Insurer training videos. My name is Michael Young, and I'm an insurance coverage and extra contractual lawyer in St. Louis. And what I'd like to talk about today is what an insurance company should consider doing when it receives a settlement demand in a liability case. And I'd like to use sort of an example. The Stowers case down in Texas is a case from the 1920s. Now, stop me if you've heard this, but I have a new podcast called Tales from Insurance Land, and Stowers is the subject of the first episode of that podcast. By the way, it's apparently Stowers, not Stowers. I repeatedly called it Stowers in the podcast, and boy, did I get some grief about that. So, I'd like to, at this point, before we go any further, apologize formally to the state of Texas for mispronouncing that case. But anyway, what happened in that one? There was a motor vehicle accident, and the plaintiff made a settlement demand to the insured, Stowers. Gosh, I can't even say it now. Made a settlement demand within the policy limits. The insurance company, well, let's listen to what the store manager for Stowers Furniture Company said happened. He got a visit from a defense counsel assigned by the insurance company to defend the furniture company, and he discusses the settlement demand that was made by the plaintiff's counsel, the Atkinson and Atkinson law firm.
Mr. Patterson came by the store one morning and discussed with me a proposition of settlement, claiming that Atkinson and Atkinson had come to him and offered to settle for $4,000 and asked if we would be willing to put up $1,500 of that amount, stating that the American Indemnity Company was willing to pay $2,500 but would not go any further than that. I discussed it with Mr. Patterson quite a bit, and he impressed on me that this is going to be a pretty serious case. I told Mr. Patterson that I thought we had insured with a pretty good company and that they should take care of us without bringing us into court, inasmuch as it could be settled for less than the amount of the policy, and that we would not put up any part of it in settlement. Mr. Patterson said if the case was not settled, it would go to trial, and they were only liable for $5,000, and that it was so near the amount of their policy they were willing to take a chance on it. I told Mr. Patterson I thought his company should go ahead and settle this claim without bringing us into any kind of litigation, that it was a crime for us to carry insurance and pay for it, and then they would not pay what little claims we might have. He told me he thought that was a fair settlement, a good settlement, and the thing should be settled, but they would not put up over $2,500.
So I guess we can say that there's good news and then there's bad news with the way the insurance company responded to that settlement demand. The good news is they told the insured about the demand. That's very good. The bad news is that even though they thought it was a good settlement demand and a reasonable amount to offer, decided to try to shake down their insured to contribute to part of the settlement. Now, in some jurisdictions, maybe more jurisdictions than you might think, it's not necessarily the worst thing in the world for the insurance company under certain circumstances to see if the insured would be willing to contribute to a settlement. For example, if coverage is highly questionable, maybe the case isn't worth nearly as much as what the demand is, but the insured, for a lot of different reasons, wants to sell the case. You have to be super careful about that. And in some jurisdictions, it's a big no-no. But in almost every jurisdiction, when the insurance company knows the case is worth what the demand is, and they still want the insured to pay a part of it, that's a tough thing to justify. So let's get away from the bad news. That makes me uncomfortable. The good news is that the insurance company did tell the insured, in that case, Stowers, however you want to call it, tomato, about the demand. And amazingly, a lot of times that does not happen. And I don't think it's, the insurance companies are purposely not telling their insureds about these demands. I think sometimes they just don't think about doing it. Sometimes when even we work on cases for insurance companies, they'll send us something and it'll have something to do with a settlement demand on a liability case. And it doesn't immediately click to me either. Hey, by the way, did you guys tell the insured about it? But it's something you should really seriously consider doing, because when the insurance company does not tell their insured about a settlement demand and then they respond to it to the plaintiff and don't tell the insured what happened, That can be a difficult fact in a bad faith or extra contractual case. It can be difficult to defend. It's not per se horrible or terrible, but it is a difficult fact. And most of the time, it's not bad faith at all. In fact, almost always it's not bad faith at all. The insurance company just forgot to do it, didn't think about doing it. So what I like to tell insurance companies, what I think we should all consider is it's sort of like the game Monopoly. When you get that card that says, go directly to jail, do not pass go, do not collect $200. That's what we should think about doing, I think, with these settlement demands. As soon as we get one, send it directly to the insured. Don't pass go, do not collect $200. Maybe consider paying $200. I don't know. But telling the insured about settlement demands is a very important thing. Again, if you don't do it in any given case, it doesn't mean you're in bad faith or that you're, going to jail like a monopoly. But it does make the case more challenging to deal with later. So when you get that demand, be sure to think about sending it to the insured. And so there you have it. There's another Don't Call Them Insurer training video.